Think your desktop laser is too small for big projects? Wrong. Today I'm making an 18-inch sign, no pass-through needed, using my WeCreat Vision Pro laser and the WeCreat Make It software.
All right, now here we go.
All right, so you're going to need a few things for this project. You're going to need to get the puzzle piece SVG that you're going to use to divide your larger piece or your door round. So I learned this from this couple from YouTube, Kim and Garrett. So I'm going to show you how I get it from them to support them. So you can go to kngmakeit.com. And when you get there, just go up to this search box and type in the word puzzle. I think this is going to be the easiest way to find this. And then you're going to open it and you're going to add it to your cart like you're making a purchase for a physical item. So if you already have your design, you can go to your checkout. I want to show you Kim and Garrett's designs, and I'm going to get one of their fall designs for this project. So you can go to shop all products and then all laser cut ready digital downloads. All right, so when you get to this page, at the beginning is going to show you some instructions on how their files are set up. So your red lines in your file will be cut lines. Your blue lines will be score or line engrave. Black lines or black highlights or fills are going to be engrave. And if there's green, it doesn't come up a lot, but that's usually an optional thing, or it's a deep engrave. So you're going to slow the engraving down so it engraves deeper. So I'm going to scroll down and they've got hundreds of files on here. I really like them, and I like that they're made by people who actually use a laser. So the files actually make sense, because more times than not, that's an issue. So I'm going to open their 10 fall door hanger SVG bundle. So this is the fall SVG bundle, and it comes with these 10 designs you can click through. I'm going to be making this one specifically. So I'm going to be purchasing this. So I'm going to add that to my cart. But if you are not purchasing this and you're maybe just getting the puzzle piece, you obviously don't need to do this process. And then from here, you're going to go to the checkout cart up here. I'm going to skip that because it's got all my information on there. And you're just going to complete the transaction like you normally will. And then I'm going to come back to the end of that where you can see the download of the files. So after you purchase your files, it's going to say your order is confirmed, and then this download thing will start. And then if you're getting a bundle, you want to download all of them. So you'll click all of these blue buttons. So you're definitely going to want the puzzle piece SVG, this one. So then you're going to take these files into the laser software. So in this case, I'm going to show you how it works in the WeCreat Make It software. All right, so I'm in the WeCreat software, and I want to start with a blank canvas or project. So I'm going to click this plus sign, or you can go over here and click new projects. And just for purposes of knowing what version of the software, I'm using 3.0.1. That's the newest version as of the time that this is being filmed. And now I'm going to drag the SVG pieces into this project. All right, so this is where if you bought one of Kim and Garrett's files, you're going to drag that SVG on here. Or if you're using a different one, whatever it is, you just want to drag that into your software. And I can see all of this is there. So I'm going to move that out of the way. And then I'm going to find the puzzle piece, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just clicking and dragging into the software. You can also do this by clicking import and searching for your file that way. And I don't need this red round because I already have one. And I'm going to move this yellow piece out of the way for a second. And before you follow the next steps, this is where you want to make sure whatever you're working with is sized at whatever size you want it to be made at. So I already know this is already sized the way I want it. So this round is about 18 inches in diameter, and that's what I want. Once you've sized all of your pieces how they're supposed to be, then you're going to go to the next steps. Move this around. And because I've used Kim and Garrett's files, I know how they're set up. Some of their files, you'll notice, have a border around them where it's not it's not a piece you're actually going to use. They do this sometimes as a frame, so it keeps like little pieces together, or which is this case, or keeps all of your words together. I'm just doing this as a one-off thing, so I'm going to delete these frames around this because I don't need them. So I'm going to click that, and click that, and delete that. So from here, I am going to divide the backer. So this is the backer. I'm going to move that into the work area. Okay, so I'm pulling up the image of this from their website. So I want to use this as an example to show you kind of my thought process of where I'm going to split the backer. So the cuts are basically covered up by something else. This one is fairly obvious, I think, as to where you should divide it. It would make sense to me to cut your backers, honestly, somewhere in the middle where this kind of grayish banner is, where the text is in this coffee cup. So this is just my preference, but I like to have, I don't usually cut them exactly in half. I like to have like a bigger piece and a smaller piece if I can, because it uses more of the material usually. So that's just me. So I'm gonna cut it down towards the bottom here, but you're not gonna see it. I'm gonna go back to the Make It software. So these blue lines are the score lines, or the line engrave lines for placing the pieces. So I know that this kind of banner in the middle is right here. So I'm going to put this puzzle piece basically over where I want it to cut or divide these pieces up. And another thing I want to just say before I keep going, I'm not an expert at this. Sometimes I'll do this one way and it will work, and then I'll do something very similar and I have to do it a slightly different way. Before I start messing with this, I want to do a copy and paste of this object. Just trust me on that. It has saved me, and I might need to use it for the other piece. All right, so sorry, I keep scrolling in and out. This is one of the things I dislike about this software. So I want to highlight the actual backer. So that's this round. I don't need to highlight the blue or anything down here. And then I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm going to click on the yellow puzzle piece. And then I'm going to go up to merge. And what I want to do is subtract overlapping shapes. So sometimes after you follow this process, this is an example of it didn't exactly do what I wanted. And this is where you just have to start getting creative and then kind of observe how it separated with how it separated this graphic or this piece or item, whatever you want to call it. So it kind of merged it all into one piece, and I want to split that up. So to do that, you'll click on that object that we've just messed with and go up here and click split. And then it should separate the bottom half from the top half, which is what it did. So I'm going to delete that. So I'm just clicking on it, pressing delete on my keyboard, and I'm going to delete this because we're going to need to then come back and make the bottom half with the copied item that we did earlier. And another thing that I'm going to do that's just kind of an OCD thing, it's not that big of a deal, but you can see the blue part, I didn't have it separate in this process. And I did that because sometimes when you do this merging process, it then turns these line engraved lines into cut lines, and then you have to remember what is what, or you have to do that separately. And I just typically don't like messing with that. So I'm gonna just leave this one here because it's going to just put a line in an empty space. But this one down here, I wanna delete. So to mess with the lines, you just double click on it, and then, but you'll highlight it first, and then it'll highlight in this blue colors. Even, let's see, the red should too. I don't know why it's not. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna highlight over this blue line. I'm gonna double click. Hate this box. And I'm going to click on the line and press delete. Ooh. All right, all right, so I'm gonna highlight over this blue line, and I'm going to press delete on my keyboard. And I'm also gonna delete this line on the side because this is a score line up against the outer edge of it, and we just don't need that. So I'm gonna click that one, click this one. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. I'm not gonna mess with that. And then pressing escape on my keyboard kind of gets me out of that. So you can see now we have this separated. I'm gonna click and drag this. I'm gonna move this up here, kind of out of the way for now. And I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna go to this, because now I want to separate basically the opposite of what I did here. All right, so I'm gonna click to highlight the backer, and then I'm gonna hold shift down on my keyboard, and I'm going to click the yellow puzzle piece. So they're both highlighted. We're going to go up to merge. And this is where these don't exactly always make sense to me. And sometimes I just have to try all of them to get it to do what I want. But I'm gonna try merge overlapping shape because I want it to merge, yes, what it just did here. So it basically took those two and it merged whatever was in the middle. But there's just so much going on here. You'll need to delete this anyway, so I'm just going to click this and delete it, as well as this, so I can get to what I want. But you can see these are now, it's separated. And then I like to do this. I kind of like to just put them together to make sure everything's good on the screen, because I've just messed up before. And it doesn't have to line up perfect on the screen, but I can tell just by doing this that it's gonna work. Now, if it was like, I don't know, like that maybe, I would start over. It would probably be easiest to just close the project, open a new one, and start over. That's just my opinion. All right, so now I'm just gonna, so that's how you do this part, but I wanna show you my full process of how I do this. So you can actually see that this actually does work with the bigger picture. So I don't need to have all of these these lines engraved down here as kind of placeholders of where this piece is gonna go. Like, it's just gonna go there because it lines up at the bottom. And it's just gonna save me time from having to, like, it's just gonna take extra time to do this. And I don't think you need it. So I'm going to click that and I'm just gonna delete that because I don't need it. And from here, this is when you're going to connect your laser and whatever your process is for your materials and using the settings for those. I'm going to be cutting this on 6mm MDF from Kim and Garrett. And I have a customized setting for that because this WeCreat doesn't have MDF in here for some reason. I'm using the WeCreat Vision Pro 45-watt laser. So to cut 1/4-inch material, you're probably going to need the 40 or 45-watt machine. If you use 1/8-inch material, like that would still work, or 3mm or whatever. Or if you're using thicker material, this would all work the same way. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like on my laser.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so here I'm taking the two pieces. I'm using Star Bond thick super glue to put them together. I'm just applying this. Sorry, I didn't film this super well. Just applying it on one of the pieces. And then I'm gonna take the other piece that I didn't put the actual super glue on, and I'm gonna use Star Bond Accelerator, and you just spray it on, it makes the pieces stick together in seconds. It's amazing. Now I'm just taking all my pieces and making sure everything makes sense. Make sure I have everything. Now I'm taking my pieces, getting everything organized with colors. I typically paint most of the stuff with rollers, using an outdoor exterior house paint. It has UV properties to protect your sign from some moisture and fading, things like that. This is pretty exciting. All right, I had some technical difficulties when I was recording this. All right, now I'm painting the bottom. Yeah, this paint is really good. I like to use paints that Kim and Garrett sell. You can find that in their store on their website. Also use makeup sponges when I'm applying to just like a small piece like this. Using kind of a spongy method. And applying a second coat to this. Now I'm taking, these pieces are all gonna be orange, but orange and yellows and reds, sometimes you need to put a white background and then paint the color over that so it's brighter. So that's why I did this white. And you can see now I'm doing the orange over that white. And this piece I painted green. I actually changed it at the end, but I was just putting another coat on there. Now I'm putting another coat of orange on. All right, well, here's my finished product. Just kidding, but really, this is it. I just wanted to show you that this is actually two pieces glued together. I typically finish the back of my signs in a solid color, kind of like this. And then you can see the finished front of the sign here. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. you really can't tell at all that it's multiple pieces put together, which I think is really cool. And if you found this video helpful, let me know. Leave a comment, I don't know how this all works. So again, thanks for watching, and until next time.